trust your crypto assets to centralized exchanges that actively sell your private information and front-run your trades? Would you like to buy and sell your assets without any middlemen, intermediaries, or robots? Do you like paying slippage, fees, and having the price go up as bots steal from you on low-liquidity decentralized exchanges? The solution is NodeMarket.io. Set your guaranteed buy or sell price. No middlemen, no slippage, no bots, ever. Buy or sell 1, 10, or even 10 million tokens, and you never have to worry. OTC trades are between you and the seller or buyer, guaranteed by audited smart contracts and no human middlemen. NodeMarket.io.
Right. Let's see. Man, it's not Friday. Unless you live in China. It ain't Friday, bro. All right. Let's see. What's going on? Well, Bitcoin's going on. That's pretty crazy. But not really. We're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about the psychological barrier of 100,000 being broken and how at this point there may not be barriers anymore. The way human psychology is wired, we'll go through it. That'll be our kind of game theory and cognitive bias training today. Yeah, that's a good question. Joseph, you said you saw it live. Was anybody standing there? We used to call it block stalking, looking at Blockfolio, but then Blockfolio got bought out by FTX, and FTX summarily shit the bed, so Blockfolio is gone. So now it's live coin watching, live coin jocking. So was anybody watching it as it rolled over to 100? That was pretty interesting. Bam. Yeah, and just so you guys know, one of the things we do with the digital private clients, in addition to them getting access to stuff early and all that, like the gaming token, for anybody, GMRT, I think is the actual token, GMRT. It may be like for gaming revenue token, but they basically decrease gaming latency. So they're not a game company that makes games. They reduce latency for all games. I put out a couple of videos of some tournament play they were doing, and it was running on a MacBook Air, like an old MacBook Air. Anybody that knows, Macs generally are not gaming computers. MacBook Airs are barely typing computers, especially the older ones. They're cool. They're thin as hell, but they were just not graphically optimized. Anyway, so that's what that is. You're going to see pretty soon. We're going to launch the synthetic token, or the proxy asset of it. So the N token, in GMRT, for those of you that they'll be able to participate. It's going to be at 12 cents. So yeah, it's going to be at 12 cents. We're gonna lock all of the original purchases so that everybody gets the same deal. No one gets screwed over. Not screwed over. I mean, when markets work the way they work at a DEX, it's a little bit sloppy. We're not going to allow that. So they're going to give us an allocation of tokens. So basically, it's day one tokens, kind of like Libra is going to be here in a few weeks. On the TGE, you can swap the tokens out, and they'll be bridgeable or claimable the same way that in Twin you could swap it for Twin tokens. Does that make sense? So same. These will be day one tokens, no cliffs, no lockups, no nothings, and it'll go out. We'll have that ready in a few days. Anyway, the private clients are getting in on a private round, which is significantly different than that price. And that's one of the things that we do. One of the other things that we do in the digital private client is when I'm making trades, I tell everybody before I do it so that they know, or as I'm doing it, if I hang a limit order out there, I'll say limit order at this to buy, to sell, whatever. Everything's limit orders. But I'll show you guys, and I also disclose like what's going on percentage-wise in my portfolio every week, all that kind of stuff. So any of my trades are disclosed so that they can act on them and front run them. Like I was saying, like yesterday, it was funny. One of the guys, is this yesterday or the day before, Steven, where we both had limit orders in on Aptos. His was lower than mine. His got filled. Mine didn't. I don't know. And then yesterday, randomly, mine got filled. And I'm wondering if mine actually got filled a day ago. And then it just, I don't know, whatever. But anyway, that's cracking for you. So anyway, that's another one of the other things that we do with the digital private client. So it's more real time. And then we have a Saturday stream that's private just for the digital private clients. And we talk about all that. So right now we're in the process of getting ready for Libra to come, getting ready because the gaming token GMRT that will launch. They believe, again, they're trying to get some exchange listings, but they believe that will launch the 16th of January. That's what they're shooting for. I think they're shooting for the enthusiastic run up towards the inauguration. I mean, who wouldn't? But anyway, so there's a lot going on. It's going to be a very busy next few months, I would say. And Sui is running. There's a couple things that are running. Stewie was doing quite well. Aptos had made a comeback. When I was looking at the list, obviously Jupiter crushing, so a lot of these projects are kind of bouncing back. And a lot of that with, of course, like the obvious is Bitcoin pushing through to, it was like just a few minutes ago, it was 103,004, 103.4. Geez, you have to have another number in there. It's no longer like 96, 94, 73. It's 102. We got to, it's like, you have to have, it's four syllables of stuff now. 4 syllables of stuff. And hypercycle spiking, but hypercycle spiking because now you get paid for having node factories. So you're actually getting the first signs of revenue from your licenses and all that. So, let's be honest. Why on earth would anybody speculate on the token when you can park the token with the licenses, lock them up, and just get paid to wait? I mean, come on, bro. So that seems pretty commonsensical to me. And again, I've always said that I never thought Hypercycle was a speculator's token. It's an enabler. It's gas. It's fuel. It's what do they call that? It doesn't matter. Anyway, so it's to fuel or marry the operation of your node factory. Yay. Okay. Other things I thought were interesting. Doge, a little baby spike. XRP, another handful of dumbasses got melted yesterday trying to re-gamble because I guess they thought, we didn't hit 10 yet. So We're bound to hit 10 because all these dumbasses are on Twitter telling me we're going to 10, going to 10. Like, why? And in what world is there an extra, 70, how many billions of dollars have to go into that thing? There's not that many morons, and those morons don't have that much money. You take all the Uber drivers and all the bartenders, all their extra checks, it isn't enough to move, XRP to $10. You would need some actual VC idiots, some well-funded idiots to buy into that bullshit. I don't know. Maybe you can find it. I don't know. Ethereum touched 3,900 a little while ago for the first time in quite a while. That's good. Yeah, that's all that was super interesting. Jupiter after the vote, up. It looks like that vote's going to pass. I have some other ideas on what I'm going to do with Jupiter. So it looks like the distribution, they're going to spam those coins out on January 31st, if I have that right, coming from Brandon. So we'll see. All right. Yeah. Let me tack some of these questions. Does the hypercycle reward have an impact on the time frame to split, or does that start when the compute starts? No, that started when tilling started. Now, are you saying, is this part of the compute ratio? No, this doesn't count as compute ratio. You're getting paid for having a node factory. So this is so that they can run compute in the background and not be stressed about rolling it out to everybody until, if there are no kinks yet. Everything's working. I mean, they're all like quite optimistic in all these meetings, and everything they've seen is cool. And I saw a pretty cool demo, a text to speech demo in posh British English, where they charge someone, I don't know what but it was like it moved, it took USDC, it swapped the deal, it did the AI translation, it sent it back, it did the thing, like I've actually seen it happen live. They did one of the guys did a walkthrough. So its compute is rolling in a test environment right now. And I can tell you that by Christmas, it'll be rolling. I can't tell you more than that. I can tell you that. And yeah, hopefully Algorand does go to the moon for both Howard and the rest of us that are stuck in that dumbass set. Maybe we can do something with that. Looking for, more. I mean, again, hypercycle is not an asset that you invest in that sense. You're not buying it for the token appreciation. You're buying it for the revenue that's going to generate. So you can participate in all this compute as AI takes over the world. Okay. Let's talk some interesting news. Let me switch gears. We had a good old Powell stepping out there talking. Powell and Putin on the same day, right? Is it crazy? I don't know. Anyway, Fed Chair Jerome Powell views Bitcoin as digital gold, not a dollar competitor. Well, yeah, it's not replacing the dollar. That's just saying it sounds stupid. Anyway, Powell reiterated. Let me bring this down just a hair. Okay, back to Powell. Powell reiterated his remarks on Bitcoin being used solely for speculative purposes. Well, yeah, but isn't that kind of the same thing as people buying U.S. debt, U.S. government debt? Isn't that it's a safe, secure, very liquid, speculative asset? You're hoping that the value of the dollar doesn't go down. Okay. Anyway, he's saying that people use Bitcoin only for speculating, not for being a competitor to the U.S. dollar. Now, every time Jerome Powell almost says something correct, he seems to put his shoe in his mouth. And this has been anyway. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell dismissed the notion of Bitcoin as a replacement for the U.S. dollar. I agree. That is a silly notion. It is stupid. It doesn't work. And you can go back to, I mean, there is, gosh, 60 something, 65 years of journals and studies and academia and economic kind of econoscience, that's pretty clear that an asset with a fixed supply, it can't back a currency, because then you can't finance through debt. You can't. If you're limited on how much currency creation you can do, then you can't. And so you can't expand. You also can't maintain any kind of currency that would be a dollar hedge. This kind of dollar hegemony. You can't maintain that across the rest of the world, because you have to provide enough liquidity for the rest of the world to function. Otherwise, peripheral markets like the euro dollar market spiral into existence, right? When there's a need for liquidity, things will pop up. So you can't do that with a pegged asset, because, again, you can't print to solve your problems. And again, it's a short term, you're not solving all your problems, but you can't expand or contract the currency supply. And a good currency supply can expand and contract with the economic cycles. At least that's the leading kind of theory. So Jerome, for the wrong reasons, says the right thing. He said he dismissed the notion of Bitcoin as a replacement for the US dollar, which he's right about. Instead, framing the lead crypto as a speculative asset compared to gold. He's not wrong. There are a lot of people speculating on Bitcoin, but I would say now there's an even amount of people that are not speculating on it. They're simply imagining it as a hedge against debasement and government stupidity. And that's not what gold is. Gold is almost a deflation hedge. It's not an inflation hedge. Maybe some people believe that, but it's not been that. It's not tracked inflation, not even close. It's a panic asset. People panic into gold. Not that you would know what the fuck to do with it. If the world went into chaos and you're going to buying bread, what are you going to buy bread with gold? Maybe clip pieces of a gold coin or whatever, but I don't know, man. I guess it worked in Roman times. I just don't know if it works now. So he's right. And that's not, I used to kind of think about Bitcoin as digital gold. I think that's a fair simpleton's argument. And that's a way that grandma might understand it. But I think more of it is a hedge against stupidity. If you think governments are going to keep doing stupid shit, you buy Bitcoin. And apparently there is no end. There is no well so deep that you'll ever get to the bottom of the bottomless well that is government stupidity. Anyway, Powell shared his thoughts and insights during an appearance at the New York Times Deal Book Summit in Manhattan, emphasizing Bitcoin's volatility and limited use as a form of payment or store of value. See where he blows it? If he would just keep his damn mouth shut, if he would just say one thing in a book, like Jerome, shut up right here. You got it. Just shut up. Bitcoin will not be replaced with the US dollar. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. But once he starts opening his big ass mouth, because it's not enough, he's got to look like he really grasps this, like he has any fucking clue about crypto at all. This dude is so on the fucking shelf. But anyway, he had to keep going. He had to talk stupid. So anyway, he said, it's just like gold, only it's virtual. Then it's not just like gold, man. God, it's immutable, it's divisible, it's transactable at nearly light speed anywhere in the universe. Like there are so many ways it is nothing like gold. Let me see. They don't even share any of the same letters, do they? Bitcoin, gold. They don't even share any of the same fucking letters of the alphabet. And that would be about the closest. The closest comparison to Bitcoin and gold is that people own both of them. and not even the same people. He continues, it's only virtual. It's very volatile. It's not a competitor for the dollar. It's really a competitor for gold. That's how I think of it. And fair, that's how he thinks of it. But he doesn't say, this is how I think of it, and then prognosticate. He says all this bullshit and then goes, well, that's how I think of it. Like, that's his little get out of jail free card. Hey, I'm a complete fucking moron, but that's how I think of it. Well, okay, you and Kramer and Mark Cuban, man. All right. His comments come amid heightened speculation about Bitcoin's growing influence in global finance, which leads us into our next story about Putin. Anyway, crypto recently achieved a market cap of 1.92 trillion, surpassing silver. Well, we're past that. To become the world's 8th most valuable asset. However, it remains far behind gold. This is true, which holds a value of some estimate it to be around 18 trillion. So we're at 2 trillion. Let's call it 2. 18 trillion is the gold. So I don't see any a 9x in Bitcoin doesn't even seem that unreasonable. It doesn't even seem that unreasonable in the next 2 or 3 years. And the thing is, if over 3 years you got a 9x on some of your other crypto assets, you'd be like, these things barely move, man. These things don't go anywhere yet because of the big sticker. You look at Bitcoin and you're like, whoa. This is not the first time that Powell has used this kind of lame, simpleton-ass 36 IQ comparison to address Bitcoin. In 2021, the Fed chair said that crypto is not useful as a store of value due to its intrinsic volatility. Okay? With Bitcoin being essentially a substitute for gold rather than for the dollar. So he's been saying the same shit for 4 years. Anyway, you feel like these guys would do some research into these things instead of talking stupid. Despite Powell's conservative tone toward Bitcoin and crypto as an asset class, Fed Governor Christopher J. Waller recently praised DeFi as an ally. Go on. At the Vienna Macroeconomics Workshop on October 18th, Fed Governor Christopher J. Waller argued that intermediaries are still fundamental for the financial markets. However, he acknowledged that DeFi applications presented technologies that offer efficiency that at and above traditional financial instruments. Yes, because he's not an idiot. I don't think Powell's an idiot either. I think Powell is a political liar. He lies about liquidity. He lies about what the Fed is or isn't. He lies about their motives. He lies about, just straight up lies about the factors they look at for making decisions, because that's just not true. So, like, at a certain point, you're like, Jerome, buddy, like, you're jovial, bicky-eared, like cackling. It's like, will only take you so far. At some point, you need to, pick up a book, put your big ass spectacles on, and read the fucking Bitcoin white paper, and stop sounding like a damn fool. These guys sound like such idiots, and you know what their goal is. They want CBDCs. They want central bank digital currencies. They want currency under their control. It's funny, isn't it? When the Fed tells everyone, oh, look what we do with money. We print. We do all this kind of stuff, which they don't. They make bank reserves, which are basically bullshit tokens. But then when they want to have a CBDC, which is currency that they would control, all these other government agencies are like, oh, hell no. States are like, no effing way, you jerkwads. So isn't it funny how people really do know that the Fed is useless, and they're telling you it's useless when they tell you, no, CBDCs are bad. Well, why? I thought the Fed was printing money all the time. I thought they were tightening rates and increasing interest rates and choking the economy out of choking the inflation monster. No. People know it's all bullshit. Maybe they don't even know they know, but they know. Anyway, that was kind of funny. Okay, then we pivot to Putin. It's the Putin pivot. Putin says that Bitcoin is here to stay. Hey, Vladimir, welcome to the team. Vladimir Putin, the perennial president of Russia, recently made some pretty bold statements about Bitcoin. He said that no one can ban Bitcoin and that it will continue to grow and develop into the future. True. That's like banning sunsets. This is important because many countries around the world have been debating whether they should allow or stop Bitcoin. And Putin's saying, what do you mean allow or stop? That's like saying allow or stop electricity. That's about it. That's about the only way. Putin supports Bitcoin's growth. Putin's comments come at a time when Bitcoin and other currencies and digital assets are getting a lot more attention. Some countries have tried to ban them because they worry about things like crime or the lack of regulation. Those are both fucking lies. They do not care about either of those. They care about their own ability to manage an economy where they can pilfer whenever they want quietly. They don't like the idea that money would be on a ledger that everyone can see. And when they try to pull shenanigans, we get to see it with a little whale alert on Twitter. Sorry, X. But even with these concerns, Bitcoin has kept growing and spreading across the globe. Putin's words show that he believes Bitcoin has a strong future and that it will only become more important as time goes on. The president also said that Bitcoin's development is inevitable. In other words, he believes that Bitcoin will keep growing and become widely accepted, whether governments want to acknowledge it or not. It's like trying to stop a river from flowing. You just can't do it. Good job, Putin. Хорошо, мой друг. Bitcoin is here to stay. People around the world are starting to see its value. The investment community around the world is starting to see its value, even as an investment asset. And Powell's an investment banker, and he probably only looks at the whole world through that lens. And that's really about it. Okay. And for those of you that don't know, yesterday it looks like Paul Atkins is who is basically he's pro Bitcoin, pro crypto. Looks like he's going to be the next chair of the SEC. I think he didn't really want the job. He has been a longtime advocate for digital assets and blockchain technology. Anyway, it's probably going to be a quite different approach than Gary, I make the law, Gensler. So it's funny. It's almost like Gensler doesn't exist anymore. He's just become nothing. He's become wallpaper, and it's great. He's going to go away, and he's going to be nothing. He'll have a couple of interviews. He'll be like Nouriel Roubini, that guy that sits there shit talking from the sidelines that no one listens to. They're like, put your foil hat back on, Grandpa, and shut the fuck up. Anyway, bye, Gary. No one cares that you. Gary leaving public office is the same thing as Ellen DeGeneres and her friend Ferrari leaving the U.S. I'm leaving. Leave. No one even knew you were still here. Get the fuck out. And Richard Gere, I'm leaving. Because Donald Trump won I'm going to leave. Leave then, motherfucker. No one cares. These people, they have to say, like, it's like someone at a party that you didn't invite, and they're like, I'm leaving. Like, no one invited you anyway, bro. Get the fuck out of here. Go away. If you hadn't said something, we wouldn't even have known you showed up. These people, man, these old lefty ass fucking whack jobs. Anyway, Paul Atkins, it looks like he had waffled. He had said, I don't know if I want the job. I don't know if I want that to be, I don't want to be that guy. So he was not looking forward to cleaning up Gary Gensler's mess. That was Chris Giancarlo said the same thing over at the CFTC. He's like, man, I cleaned up his dumpster fire over here at the CFTC. I don't want to go do it again over at the SEC, although he'd have been great too. But anyway, Trump officially announced yesterday morning, he said he is delighted to announce the nomination of Paul Atkins to be the next chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission. So cool, man. So we got Powell, we got Putin, we got Paul, we got the P's, 3 P's in a pod. And then finally, on the news part of today, Black Frost and Filecoin partner to strengthen Cardano's data. Did you guys see that Cardano? I'm sure you did. Using Hydra heads, Cardano hit. Well, they claim to have done 1 million transactions per second. which would usurp, let's see, from like 15 to 250,000 is like Visa, right? Although those are bullshit numbers because those transactions are not finalized. Solana is about a quarter of that, but they shut down every 14 minutes. So that would be the fastest right now. Yeah, that would be the fastest right now. Well, yeah, there's that too. But simply going to France, or where does she go, to England, go to France, that doesn't make indictments go away. Like, just because she's a creep, you know what I mean? It's like they'll just come get you, bitch. Like, if you were doing shady shit, they will come get you. Like, you have parking tickets, they'll go to Egypt and hunt you down in the desert. If you have parking tickets, they will get you, man. Especially in a public way, if they can embarrass you, they will get you. Yeah, there was a gerbil issue. I know American gerbils had a sigh of relief when they heard that Richard Gere was leaving. They collectively like, yeah, we're going to be just fine. Well, Rod Stewart's still here. No, enough about that. I got nightmares. Anyway, yeah, it's neither here nor there. Okay, so Filecoin. This isn't. Filecoin is behind a lot of projects. You know, remember SingularityNet spam released news about a partnership with Filecoin. Yeah. Okay, Ben, a partnership. By partnership, you mean you're using Filecoin, and Filecoin may or may not even know who you are. Yes, that. Oh, well, then of course, partnership. So this partnership, Black Frost and Filecoin Foundation teamed up to enhance Cardano apps with a decentralized storage backup from Filecoin. Okay, that's just Filecoin doing what Filecoin does and other people using it and calling it a partnership. So this is another bullshit collaboration where they probably talked to them for 15 minutes. Anyway, whatever. I don't know that it makes Cardano any more appealing, but it makes Filecoin, to me, more appealing. So we'll see. This collaboration is all about making sure that Cardano apps are safe, reliable, and decentralized. It helps developers build better applications. Oh, how so? Black Frost is a service that helps developers easily access and use the Cardano blockchain without needing to worry about complicated infrastructure. It also runs IPFS, Interplanetary File System, gateway clusters. This allows users to store and access data in a decentralized way. Filecoin boosts Cardano apps with the decentralized storage part of the equation. So, according to this blog post, with the help of Filecoin, Black Frost will be able to offer new service for Cardano developers by storing Black Frost's IPFS gateway clusters on Filecoin. Cardano apps will have extra protection. So this means that if one piece of data is lost or corrupted, it can be recovered from another place on the network. The benefits of this collaboration are data redundancy, Filecoin, quality assurance, Filecoin, data verifiability, Filecoin, and commitment to decentralization. Marketing thing. Anyway, on the data redundancy side, by using Filecoin, developers can store their data in multiple places on a distributed network, making sure that if one part goes away, this is redundancy, right? Like in a plane, 5 wires for every switch, so that if 4 of them go bad, you're still in the air. Anyway, making sure that if any part of the system goes down, the data is still safe and available. On the quality assurance side, the QA side, Black Frost's new service makes it easier for developers to store their data securely while ensuring smooth access, and it helps them build apps that work well and that can scale and without worrying about losing data. On the verification side, Filecoin's technology stores data safely and makes it easy to prove that the data has not been changed. They use features like proof of replication, proof of space-time, where developers can build trustworthy apps. Even on the ones that are using or utilizing AI or need more reliable data for training of new AI systems. So cool, man. So this guy at Black, so remember, Cardano's not partnering with Filecoin. Cardano's just using this thing that Black Frost is doing, and Black Frost partnered with Filecoin. So yeah, it sets up the partnership. This is what this guy said, Merrick of Black Frost. This partnership with Filecoin sets a new standard for data reliability in Cardano apps. Developers can now be confident that their data is stored safely and securely. I mean, I think they could already do that with Filecoin. They didn't need these guys in the middle, but good for them being in the middle of a thing that you're not needed from. You will eventually be disintermediated, because anybody that's developers that are constantly using you to get to Filecoin would just go use Filecoin. They don't need you at all. Black Frost nipping at his nose. Oh wait, that's not it. That'd be bad. All right, so there's that. Cool, great. Black Frost, yeah. Okay, let's take a look at markets. Let's take a look at these old mercados. Let's see what's going down. See how it's looking. Bump, bump, bump. Bam. All right. Oh, wait, you know what? I've got a little, markets. Okay. We will get to this in a minute. The Bitcoin sitting right around 101. Still pretty cool. 101 is cool. Hold on. Let me just check this old volume on this little guy right here. Come on. Give me something. All right. So we're sitting right around 101, but the point is we're sitting over 100,000 on Bitcoin. Like I was asking a while ago, how many of you got to see it? Oh, any news on midnight? The only news, I saw these guys get interviewed. I like one of the guys. I like him a lot. He doesn't sound like he's ever talked to Charles, and I like that. He's not a whiny little bitch, and he doesn't make shit up, or at least the stuff he does make up, I don't know that he's making it up. So it sounds pretty cool. Midnight seems like there might be value to it. I mean, it's a privacy token, and privacy tokens always have their run in the beginning. I don't know what the original launch thing was, that everybody that owned Cardano was going to get it as part of staking and all this. Apparently that's been kiboshed, and they're going to spam it out to a bunch of communities, which kind of, again, continues to shit all over the Cardano community. Like, all these people that waited and waited and waited, you just screwed them over by saying, oh, well, instead of giving it all to you guys, the loyal ones, we're just going to spam this shit all over the universe, right? It's cool, right? No big deal. You guys didn't really want it that bad. So it's a 2-token system that uses like night and dust. And anyway, might be cool. It might be nice to have like a really secure privacy network, but yeah. And no, there's no more news on the fork. And the news on the fork wouldn't come from us directly. Remember, that's a thing that either the ASI team will or won't do. Sorry, the Singularity Net team will or won't do. That's on Ben and Mario and all the henchmen. They said they wanted it, then who knows what they're doing? Remember, they just tried to grab that PAL.ai, and that community told them to go F themselves. So they might be recoiling, clutching their pearls a little bit. It looks like to me that NewNet is getting set up for the spam. Mario. Looks like they're spamming, that they're forcing up, go to low liquid exchanges, pump up the price, let the spiders grab it, and you know how it works, right? Like just fake a pump for 15 days. They just need to go up for 15 days, get the 15-day average. And the reason why they're pumping is because they own a lot of it. So it's in their best interest to pump a lot of it, so they get a lot of fetch. Why? Because you can go exit fetch and no one looks at you stupid. Maybe that was the whole point. Maybe none of this has anything to do with AI. Maybe the whole point of ASI is to give everybody holding shitty AI assets an exit, a more liquid market to exit. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the whole point. Anyway, okay. Why do you think the Filecoin all-time high was 237, and why did it fall so hard? Well, because there weren't that many tokens when it first launched. You got to remember, as more tokens appear, then you're slowly debasing the currency. Does that make sense? So let's say in the beginning you have 1 trillion tokens, but you only release 10 tokens. Well, it's pretty easy to get those 10 tokens. The price of those really high. It's only 10 tokens to trade. But then you release 10 more and 10 more and 10 more and 10 more every millisecond. And you're approaching 1 trillion. Now it's a lot harder to move that price. So that was the early enthusiasm. I didn't get a sell off at 230 in the 230s, but I did get one over 200. I think I sold it 185-ish, 184, and 205, 207-ish, somewhere around there. I got so lucky. I got lucky for a bunch of reasons I won't even go into on that one. I invested with a buddy in that one, and he didn't give me my tokens. What he did is he got the tokens, said he didn't get them. Figuring he knew best, he sold the tokens because he thinks he understands markets. The next batch of tokens came in. He gave me, what his probably plan was, he was shorting it. He's like, oh, it's going to go down. I'll buy them back cheaper and give them to the guy, because 3 of us invested in it. And it didn't work out for him. So he sold all of his out. The next ones that came in, I got like a couple hundred tokens. I don't know how many it was. Was it a couple hundred or like 1,800? Shit, I'd have to go look. But anyway, whatever I got, it wasn't what I was supposed to get. I was supposed to get many thousand, and I didn't get many thousand. I got a third or a quarter of what I was supposed to get. But we bought the tokens of the ICO at like $5.12 or whatever that price was, and I had an exit at at about 180 something and about 20 something. And then when it came back down, I used that same money and I built a big position in Filecoin because I believe in Filecoin. And I don't really even have any price predictions. I don't know where it could go. But I think Filecoin can go much more. It can go much more. That I will say with Jerome Powell level of confidence. You could, that's a market cap question. You could go back. I wonder, there's a way to check. Brandon's very clever at that kind of stuff, but there's a way to check what the market cap was at a certain time. You may be able to, that even probably is a question that you could GPT. What was the market cap of XYZ, and what was the circulating supply of XYZ at this time? That's how I would do it, Ed. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Did I miss anything? Let's see. The cheapest I've been able to make two license node factory is 160 at 10. 160 is 209. I've already spent 40 on the token stack. Well, hey, listen, it's better than when the tokens were a buck 18. But I don't know. I don't know if gas prices are at 10 gwei. It shouldn't be that expensive. But T-Bags, are you making it? Are you going through Hyper PG, or are you going through Node Market? Two paths to arrive at the same place. Two paths diverge in the woods. I chose the one most managed by Node Market. All right. Filecoin 5x possible 10x. I don't know. Come on, Barry. We don't do that here. Node Market. I'm not sure. Hey, that's a Brandon question. So let's T-Bags. Let's put a pin in that and let's ask Brandon tomorrow on the show. Let's see. The estimated gas was way higher than if you double check it after the transaction on Etherscan. Oh yeah. The estimated gas is usually higher. So there you go. Okay, let's take a look at these markets. Let's just keep going through them, and then we're going to get to the good stuff we're going to talk about, the fun stuff, the edumacations. Okay, so Ethereum looking a lot better than it was. It's starting to catch Bitcoin as far as progress, but Bitcoin hitting 100K, as we'll talk about here in a minute, changes things psychologically for everyone. All bets are off now. Any psychological ceilings, any bullshit. I mean, you saw the people retweeting the tweets, oh, Bitcoin will never hit 100K. Well, don't say never on things that have no ceiling. Stupid. Or you look stupid. That was Peter Schiff. Also, I think Nur Rubini made similar statements. I mean, all these idiots have said the same thing. XRP not going up the way everybody thought. It was going to $10, and a bunch of idiots got melted. Again, another 40 something million in leverage got wiped yesterday by a bunch of idiots. Just idiots, man. Just damn fools. Just damn fools. Anyway, okay. What is it? Oscar Wilde. There are 3 types of lies: lies, damned lies, and statistics. I read that this morning. I thought that was funny. Cardano. Okay. I mean, does Cardano have an all-time high in sight? Maybe. I mean, look at how it's spammed up in the last few weeks. There's no rules right now. Okay? There's no rules right now. So understand that. Common sense, education, financial understanding doesn't mean shit right now. We're in the dumb bull market, where the dumb money, the FOMO money, the people that have no business investing, Brandon and I had to talk someone down from investing this morning that's not really capable of well, in my opinion, it should take a breather. People just want to run and run into the wall and just, I got to get in now. Like, buddy, you had to get in for the last decade when we were telling you to get in. You don't have to get in right now. Now is when you go slow and like make sure that you don't start buying tops. On the other side of it, I don't think we're anywhere near tops on any of these things, even the crappiest dog shit assets. Dog assets. So anyway, Cardano 123. Yeah, many of you. Let's do a real quick check. How many of you here are in all-time high territory? Should be a fair amount. I bet it's a pretty fair amount. Anyway, ADA $1.23. Could it get back to $3? It could. I mean, Hydra, I guess, helps. Midnight, if they ever talk about it, it's good for a bump right there. People love an airdrop. Sui over $4. So Sui had a few setbacks the last couple of weeks, but then it's grinding higher. A lot of talking head, douchebag, scumbag, VC, the Twitter douchebaggery, Fin Tech, fucking douchebags. They're talking up Sui. That's the reason I got into Sui in the first place, because all of the same scumbags that were pumping Solana are pumping Sui. Do you want to be right or do you want to be rich? Do you want to be prideful or do you want to be profitable? I will choose profitable. Except when I play video games, then it's prideful, but profitable. Aptos, 14 and change. It got up to high 1470s a few days ago. Should it take out all-time highs? I can't imagine it wouldn't. B-Chain still grinding up. Fetch over $2. Yeah, keep going, man. I hope they spam that thing to $100. I hope Ben's assertions are correct. Would you rather have 100% of a 4 trillion market cap asset or 1% of a 100 trillion market cap asset? Oh, I don't know, Ben. Let me move the decimals over, you fucking clown. Anyway, Filecoin over $8. Cool. Kind of quiet for the day, but certainly not a bad week. 44%. 30-day, 135. So most of that was in the last 30 days. That's been some big moves. Algorand was doing great. It's still doing great, right? 3x in the month, but it was up much higher. It was up near 60 cents or at 60 cents. And then it's summarily shit the bed the last few days. But it's still keeping a lot of its gains. I just don't know I just don't know how you can dummy pump this thing. I mean, they're not doing anything at that company. They're doing nothing. They're doing nothing. Nothing is nothing. Cosmos over $10, although it's quieted down just a hair, about a half point, but still cool. Was there anything else that was interesting? Graph token still grinding up. I think Graph token's going to get a nice little pop when they release their GRC 20 token standard layer 2 fucking copy and pasty thing that everybody else is doing. Great. Matic was over 70 cents. It's down a little bit right now, but still it's playing some catch up. Still some meat on the bone there. Jupiter was over $1.42. So Jupiter is crushing right now. It's up 7% on the day. They put out their new proposal, their new vote. That's still happening. I still think it's going to be a big fat ass debasement event. I mean, not debasement event, but kind of a debasement event. It's 700 million tokens. So yeah, good. And they're bot hunting. They're not going to let the bots come eat it all up, and they're going to give some to the stakeholders. But I don't know, man. Yeah, we talked about that behind the wall. So there's some strategy there that I will be employing. Yep. Okay. What say you? Say is a knockoff shit show dumpster fire, click and paste copy, basically, marketing and everything else of Sui. So from Solana to Sui to say to Pith. I mean, these are spammy dumpster fire coins that will very likely take out their all-time highs. Because why wouldn't you? Isn't that strange? $1.14, $1.15. People are kind of looking at these two things the same. Anyway, they're trade assets. There's no real value there, I don't think. Arweave, there is value there, and it's done pretty good, up a full 100% in the last 30 days. Can't argue there. You've done pretty good on Harmony One. It's up in the last, basically in the last 30 days. It's up a 2x. That's pretty cool. What else? Store J starting to catch a bid. See a coin catching a bid a little bit in the last month, but over 100% in the last 90 days. Hypercycle up a little bit today, but again, different asset. We don't really think of it. I mean, I don't think of it as a speculator's asset. You might. I just don't. NewNet. Oh, I guess they ran out of money. I guess Mario and the clan ran out of money. Because no one's using NewNet. They don't have a product. No one's using Sophia. They don't have a product. No one's using Cogito. Anyone want to guess why? They don't have a product. And Twin, they don't even have a price. Oh, God. Can you imagine if the Twin team had listened to anyone other than their lawyers, where they would be? Can you imagine? Wow. Let's switch gears. Let's get out of this. Let's go. That's a good one. Yeah, let's just switch gears. We're gonna go to a happy place now. Let's go and feed our brains with psychological ceiling. What happens when a big time, long-standing psychological ceiling is blown out? What does that mean for the future? Could be off to the races.
Hello. You're late.
You're bad at math, but I'm giving you an A+ in confidence.
Just doing what I gotta do.
Extra credit.
All right. So we're going to talk about the power of electric fences, psychological barriers, that kind of thing. I felt like it merits discussion. It's not going to be a long-winded one, but we need to think about it. So humans have a natural tendency to ascribe special significance to round numbers, to integers. And this is, for any of you science nerds, you know what it's called? So let me make sure my comments are showing up. Any of you sciencey super nerds like me, left digit effect. The left digit effect is basically where a change in the leftmost digit of a number impacts our perception disproportionately. The left digit effect. And the whole fucking planet just got hit with it in the last 12 hours, whether they know it or not. In financial markets, round numbers also serve as psychological support or resistance levels. Again, these are psychological factors. These are all fueled by cognitive bias and mostly stupidity. But humans are humans, right? So investors tend to pay extra attention when an asset approaches these kinds of figures, round numbers. All right. So Bitcoin at 100,000. Crossing this threshold isn't just like a price point, right? It's a monumental milestone that can shift investor sentiment from skepticism to exuberance and to interest. So a lot of people that were like, it will never, it continues to make you eat crow. If you say it will never, Bitcoin will shit on you. It will embarrass you publicly, loudly, over and over. It will hit you in the head with a fucking hammer. Bitcoin has embarrassed a lot of people. And Bitcoin has made a lot of people second guess what they think they know. There's a lot of people that think that they understand markets that now kind of go, how did I miss that? How did I miss? Even Peter Schiff, even he is like, I'm remiss that I missed Bitcoin. I missed buying Bitcoin. And he's like, I would have taken it and sold it and bought gold with it. Okay, Pete. Okay. Anyway, so there's this whole idea about breaking through these limitations, these psychological barriers. So once a significant psychological barrier, like 100,000 a token, was crossed, which I think now it means 1,000 Satoshis is 1 penny. Is that right? Anyway, there is two things happen: psychological release and the perception of legitimacy. All right. So investors who were waiting on the sidelines may now feel more confident entering the market because it's past this almost line of validity, a social proof. So that blends into this perception of legitimacy. So higher prices can legitimize assets in the eyes of the public and institutional investors. You go to a store, you see two shirts, one of them is like $6 and one of them is $96. You're like, oh man, if they would, the 96 one, that one's the one I really want. You're like, buddy, you can get 18 times the line. You get 18 of those $6 shirts. It's the same. Like, no, but that other one's better. Look at it. It's $98. There was me and my buddy Joe went into a shop. He was looking for some cool hats. We went into a shop that had these t-shirts. He goes, have you ever been in here? They have $300 t-shirts. I'm like, oh, why the fuck would anybody buy a $300 t-shirt? That's stupid. Don't you know a guy? I got a guy. Everybody should have a guy. I got a guy. I'm not paying $300 for a shirt. What? That doesn't make any damn sense. Unless that shirt gives me psychological counseling or a damn back rub. Anyway, so higher prices, though, to a lot of people, especially institutional investors, legitimizes an asset. And then they go, oh, okay, well, I think maybe it is a good thing. So now you have what kicks in is social proof and herd behavior. So this concept of social proof is a psychological phenomenon where people mimic the actions of others, assuming that those actions reflect correct behavior. So in investing, if a large group of people is investing in Bitcoin, then a bunch of other people, they will follow them, believing because, well, it's a wise decision. Why would all these people do it if it was stupid? Right? So there's this herd behavior. Then you have the herd behavior in markets, right? Herd behavior occurs where individuals act collectively without centralized direction. So essentially, a bunch of people all kind of like, we got to do this. They're not talking, they're not collaborating, but they're definitely cooperating. And so you have like in Bitcoin cases, as Bitcoin surpasses 100,000, herd behavior could accelerate buying, which can drive prices up even higher, right? Because everybody's saying, oh, everybody's going to sell at 100. Why? 100 doesn't mean anything anymore. When you sat at 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99 for like 3 weeks, well, then 100 is just another, it's a skosh. And then 100, of course, it took out 100 and went to 103. And a few hours ago, it was 103.4, 103.4. I think that's a radio station. I'm sure it is somewhere. Anyway, during previous Bitcoin rallies, you would see rapid price increases fueled by a bunch of new investors, a bunch of dumb money entering the market, right? So why? FOMO. So you have to factor FOMO. FOMO is the anxiety, fear of missing out. The FOMO that an exciting or an interesting event, a unique opportunity could be happening elsewhere and you're getting left behind. It gets aroused by douchebags on Twitter and social media and a bunch of talking head, loudmouth assholes. But the reality is people get caught up in the flow. I mean, I have a lot of friends that I talk to 5, 6 times a week. And all of a sudden they're asking me about, hey, what should I buy? What should I be buying? Dude, you didn't hear me for the last 8 years. What am I supposed to teach you now, man? Come on, bro. Damn. And then you have to give a 101 course. I was like, look, bro, here, check the show out. Start 3 years ago and work your way forward. Let me know when you've knocked out that 800 hours of content, bro. Anyway, so in a financial context, investors fear missing out on potential profit, and that prompts them to buy into rising markets. Also, unfortunately, sometimes it has people selling stuff to buy other stuff, and then the other stuff moves. And so you have to maintain, again, bull markets. We always said it. Bull markets are much harder to navigate than bear markets. Bear markets, it's easy. You roll up your sleeves, you do the research, you invest to your position limits, you build a portfolio that's diversified as much as you can accept. In a bull market, shit, you start looking at everything. It's like, there's another car, there's a Ferrari, there's a Bugatti, there's like, and you panic, and everybody's making more money than me, and all this kind of bullshit. When none of that matters, it's you compared to you, and that's it. But yeah, fear of missing out has investors chasing profits that everyone else is making, and it prompts them to buy into rising markets, and that's tough. That's tough to do. So then you have this, what I think is going to be an amplification after 100,000. So you have a lot of media hype, right? So breaking the 100K mark is going to result in some pretty extensive media coverage. I would be shocked if it's not on every single news source on the planet. And that hype increases public awareness and more media coverage. And then people who previously dismissed Bitcoin probably start looking at it going, I mean, is this the next gold? Is Jerome right? No, he's not, but it still could continue to go. Remember, there was a point where Bitcoin and gold were worth the same amount. And those days have long passed. Those days were in 2017 and they never returned. Anyway, so now you have, obviously, we have our anchoring bias and our and how that kind of attaches to this new reference points created by this price action. So you guys know anchoring bias is one of the cognitive biases where individuals rely too heavily on an initial piece of information, which is the anchor, like that anchor information when making decisions, primacy versus recency. So price anchoring. So after Bitcoin reached 100,000 several hours ago, this may become a new reference point for investors. Oh, it's below 100. Oh, it's above 100 because it's already gone above 100. And so people will start adjusting their expectations, kind of raising the bar. So investors now go, well, if it hit 100, 200 or 500 is rational. Is it? Is it not? It's rational if people rationalize it. So it is rational. So now the talk isn't when do we get to 125? The talk is when do we get to 200? When do we get to 500? When do we get to 1 million? These are the milestones that are being established, right? And then there's kind of a normalization where what seemed like an astronomical like an impossibility, this 100,000, it just becomes viewed as the norm. Boop. So then you have this kind of euphoria and speculative mania that can feed off of this. So in market psychology, euphoria is a place where investor confidence is at its peak and asset prices surge. I don't think we're anywhere near that, by the way. But we are getting into the period of emotional investing. where decisions are driven more by emotion and feelings than by rational analysis. That too should be a cognitive bias. That's all the biases. And this is where speculative bubbles can form. And so a situation where asset prices are much higher than their intrinsic value due to excessive demand. Now, you have to be careful about intrinsic value arguments. We've talked about this a lot. If something's valuable to you, it has value. If it's not valuable to you, it doesn't. Value is a personal conversation you have with stuff. You value stuff at some level of your own system of value points or whatever. It's different for everyone. We try to create like a fundamental system like the 5 T's and all that so that you can create some valuation. But still, at the end of the day, things have, this old blanket may be very valuable to you, and to everyone else it's gross and old and it looks like, coffee stains. But to you, you're like, no, this is the most special blanket. So to you, it's valuable. To others, it's not. But in speculative bubbles, where asset prices start to get stupid, they go much higher than any kind of realistic argument about value. Like when you look at MicroStrategies and it's trading at 3x of, if you fired everyone and sold all the Bitcoin, what would you have? It's a 3x of that. So 2 of those X's are stupid and irrational. So like that's a very easy intrinsic value argument one right there. And thank God it's selling off. Anyway, and so what is Bitcoin's potential bubble? Well, Bitcoin has an interesting bias. I think, again, it's as governments print, they'll never stop. As governments are stupid, they'll never stop. As they quit doing secret stuff, they don't ever quit doing secret stuff. So if governments keep governmenting and politicians keep politicking, then Bitcoin could melt up forever, perpetually, indefinitely. But it's not a straight line. Because what will happen is leverage will push prices to unsustainable levels. Leverage will get wiped. People will get knocked as the volatility increases, whacking all those investments, gap down trading, that kind of crap. So there'll be baby bubbles, I think, but that too is pretty natural. People gamble, then they over gamble, then they gamble way too much, and they take on leverage and gamble some more, then they get blown up, and then the reset switch is hit, and now it's investable again. So be the veteran in that case, not the rookie. Let's see. Oh, I get these kind of. You get like Coin Market Cap just gives you announcements. Oh, we'll see how it goes. I think why is this guy talking? What the shit? Shut up. Anyway, this guy, some asshole is going to tell us about Bitcoin. But anyway, that's part of the media that we just talked about. Okay, confirmation bias and overconfidence. So investors tend to favor information that confirms their existing beliefs and ignore information that contradicts them. Jerome Powell. So this is called selective perception. So positive news about Bitcoin might be amplified while warnings are somewhat dismissed, which could bring people in on less than the full information, right? And that can give way to the overconfidence effect, where you're overestimating your ability to predict market movements, which guess what? Other than this, the general trend, it's very difficult to predict any specific movements. We try to. That's what makes some of us good or bad investors, is the way we read the tea leaves, but it's tricky because there's a lot of things you can be right and markets can be irrational, and that can go on forever. So anyway, and then there's the risk of mistakes, right? So overconfidence leads to risk taking, selling things, buying things, swapping things, trying to, front run the system, and that can potentially further inflate the market, which again would push you further towards kind of a bubbly reset area. Most people, when they start really gambling, the best next thing is to start taking on leverage, especially if they win their first bet out of the gate. Then that's it. They're screwed. They're going to take on leverage and screw everything. Okay. now you have a lot more than before: media, social media, and these information cascades. So the media influence is that the media plays a pretty significant role in shaping investor perceptions because you're hearing this thing over and over and over, right? This positive feedback loop. Media reports on the rising Bitcoin prices. More people come in, investors buy, the price keeps going up. This can continue to drive prices up. And an information cascade happens when people make decisions based on observations of others, ignoring their own information. So how does that affect Bitcoin? Well, you could have a lot of new investors that really are only in it for a few percentage points. And they might buy simply because they see other people doing it. They don't really understand what the fuck they're doing. They don't have any idea what's going on. They don't know what any of these, they don't know anything. It's like the worst parts of 2021 all over again. All those assholes that were on Robinhood, they come in and start buying Bitcoin. What happens when Bitcoin goes down $14? They panic. They get their shit and run, which creates a lot of volatility. So then you have the scarcity principle and hoarding behavior, which we like hoarding behavior. So you have the limited supply situation of Bitcoin, 21 million total coins. I want people to get this right. There's not 21 million and a little extra. No, there were going to be a total of 21 million, and up to 6 million are already lost, gone, irretrievable. So let's get the numbers right. There will never be more than 21 ever. And, outside of some Bitcoin improvement proposal, some BIP that everybody would vote on that would extend it, that might redecimalize. But if you want to keep it smooth, go down to the 100 millionth, which is one Satoshi, 2.1 quadrillion total Satoshis. There can't be more than that because that's the way it was designed, and that's that. Now, 5 to 6 million have been lost, right? Meaning because 1 million's in the Satoshi wallet, that can't be accessed. There's a lot. Hard drives gone, wallets lost, all this kind of stuff. So scarcity, as you guys understand, micro E, my small economics, small e, scarcity increases value. According to the scarcity principle, this is where economics 101, limited availability can make assets look quite desirable, right? And then what kicks in? Hoarding behavior kicks in. So you have a fear of uncertainty and unavailability. Investors could start to buy and hold Bitcoin because they think that it's going away, which it is, that it's disappearing from exchanges, which it also is. And then they buy and they hold. These are mine. They clutch their pearls, and that reduces the circulating supply, which creates a price acceleration to the upside because reduced supply with increased demand leads to rapid price increases. Kind of common sense. So then you have these behavioral financial theories that start to kick in. You see how you've got to sprinkle on all of this stuff. You have prospect theory and greater fool theory. So people value gains and losses differently, right? Leading to irrational financial decisions. Loss aversion, right? Some people are more affected by loss aversion, where the fear of losses can cause them to hold on to assets longer than rationality would allow them. Kind of like the way I'm holding on to Flow token, even though it's a complete fucking disaster. I refuse to sell it, and I probably could have sold it $20 ago. Instead, it's like $1. That's a loss aversion problem. And then greater fool theory kicks in. So one person might buy an overvalued assets, believing that they can sell them at an even higher price to some other greater dummy. Now, I think that's less involved in the Bitcoin market, but it does a little bit because some investors are just buying at high prices to sell at high prices. They really don't look at Bitcoin as an asset that you want to hold as a hedge against government stupidity or bad behavior. They just kind of want to sell it to the next guy and grab a little profit. Same thing. All those idiots that are getting melted on leverage on XRP right now, like they don't believe in XRP. That of course because no one that looks close to Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson don't believe in XRP. If you woke them up at 3 a.m., it's just a cash cow for them. They don't give a shit. Anyway, there's a lot of investors that are just like that. They're like, look, I'm just going to buy it for 6 and sell it for 7. I don't care if it goes to 7,000. And so then you have, kind of to sum this up, you have the illusion of control. So there's a lot of investors that they can predict, they believe that they can predict or control market movements, right? Which this falls in line with the risk of misjudgment. This is the illusion that can lead to overly aggressive investment strategies that are on very shaky footing. Let's say that. And so this illusion makes people make bad decisions. And then it becomes, there's all this reinforcement behavior that happens, especially through social media, where everybody's saying the same bullshit. And so there's this collective overconfidence. Now that can amplify market trends, which pushes prices higher. But if it's a sloppy asset, the price can crash. The good thing about Bitcoin is there is a fairly rigid set of legitimate arguments of why you could own Bitcoin. This isn't, tulips. And by the way, that gets misreported. The whole tulip thing, the whole tulip mania and all that, that gets painfully misreported. The real story of that's much less interesting. But then it's not Beanie Babies. There is use, utility, wide scale adoption, and hoarding effect of Bitcoin. And there's many reasons, many different reasons why you might want to own Bitcoin. But you need to, this list of things to consider kind of tells you that there are a lot of psychological reasons why getting past 100K might mean that there are no more psychological barriers, that was the last real one. So essentially the psychological effect of Bitcoin reaching 100K is kind of multifaceted. It's kind of profound. So psychological barriers, social proof, FOMO, anchoring bias, and all these other cognitive biases contribute or are going to contribute to Bitcoin's continual price appreciation. And so I don't know if there is an upper limit anymore. I mean, I don't know if there ever was an upper limit, but now that 100K has been taken out, I think a whole bunch of people over the next few days are going to grapple with this idea that it went from a penny to 100,000. What's stopping it? And the answer is fucking nothing. So, and again, nothing goes in a straight line. Things kind of, they're up and down and they're volatile. But for the most part, I don't think anything, unless governments go away from using currency units, unless AGI, unless Ben's AGI welcomes in some nirvana where we don't need money units anymore. Until that time, government's going to print, dummy's going to dummy. And I think we're in the sky is the limit scenario where investors' behavior, which is influenced by obvious human psychology, is going to have a tremendous upside impact on not just financial markets and crypto in general, but specifically Bitcoin. And of course, that would propagate out to other assets as our gambling juices start flowing. Does that make sense? So give that some thought. And before we wrap up, real quick, for those of you that were watching or that have kind of thought about the change from less than 100K to over 100K, how many of you agree or disagree that has essentially removed all psychological barriers? Have I lost all faith in Ben? Yes. I don't think that there's anything Ben is going to do at this point other than continue to do financial spam, which is all that company is, just financial spam now. I mean, I hope the price goes up. I hope they can spam it up because I'm a material girl and this is a material world, but I don't think that there is anything that they have to offer any of us. That's just me. I'll be heavily wrong. I still own a lot of Fetch. So if they can get the price to moon, I'll be super happy. I'll be happily wrong. Go change the world, Ben. One spammy, garbage token amalgamation, chimera, bullshitty merger at a time, because they sure don't have any products, and they sure don't do anything in the AI space. So maybe they'll master that. All right. We'll be back tomorrow with Brandon. Be back, yeah. And we will talk all sorts of things. We'll talk about what we know about Jupiter, which, by the way, is catching a nice little bid. We'll talk more about our Jupiter strategy. We'll talk more about our other strategy. And then we'll talk about our end of January strategy. We'll do all that behind the wall, plus any other cool stuff. And for those of you that haven't checked out, if you have your, go to Node Market. If you have your factories, connect your wallet and check and see if you're earning some yield. And by the way, if you have, your yield will start at 7%. If you have between 1 or 9 of the Node Market NFTs, you will get 8%. If you have 10 or more, you will get 9%. Woo woo! Who doesn't love money? Love money. Yeah, I know. He will be. I like how Ben says he will be. He ain't doing nothing. Ben is doing shit with your money. This is all money they stole from the future. This isn't Ben's money. I like how these guys flip this narrative like they're just handing out. That Ben isn't fucking Warren Buffett going and actually doing real human philanthropy, or Bill Gates, motherfucker. It's not even his money. Ben is not giving anyone anything. It's so weird. These guys, man. And people just fucking their eyes gloss over, and they just believe, oh, it's Ben. Look, he's got that hat and curly hair. He won't lie. What the fuck is it with big hair? Same thing with Sam Bankman Fraud Chicken. Look at his hair. He plays video games during business meetings. He's got to be telling the truth. Oh my God, you fools. Didn't you see The Wizard of Oz? Well, I didn't see Wicked because apparently that was canceled in LA. At least that's the story on the street. I don't want nobody saying anything different because I'm not trying to go to that movie. So let's keep that quiet. As far as anyone here knows, Wicked was canceled in Los Angeles and it never showed. Bad luck. Anyway, see you tomorrow. Stay in school. Don't do drugs. Don't do anything about poor, insolvent, drunk, struggling on meth grandmother, what Brandon wouldn't do. I have no idea what the weather is, but I'm sure it's nice.
Terrified, wandering mind, the seams have come undone. You've been telling lies to these eyes as if they'd never seen the sun.
You keep your mouth shut, Joseph.
You've let your guard down and your heart is exposed. Now you've let your guard down, but how could you have known that I'm the big fish round here? You're a small fish. I could make you disappear. You should know this. I'm the big fish round here. You're a small fish.